And 2014 is going to be a busy year for major criminal cases. A number of high-profile suspects are expected to face juries. CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with Boston, the marathon bombing. We're going to have a big trial this year.
We are going to have a big trial this year. The question is, will it be in Boston? Eric Holder, the Attorney General of the United States, has to make a decision by the end of January as to whether or not there will be a death penalty sought. Whatever decision he makes then allows the defense to say, hey, wait a minute, we may need a change of venue, because how can we try this case in Boston? That is supposed to be argued by the end of February, and that's going to be the big decision. Listen to how long this case is. 3 months if the case goes to trial, and then 2 months more if the case is a death penalty case. So that's half a year. Busy for Boston or elsewhere.
Do you think it'll be difficult for him to get a change of venue?
No, because if we look back, Timothy McVeigh, another domestic terrorist, what happened when he bombed the Murrah building? He was accused and was going to be tried in Oklahoma. Case was ultimately tried in Colorado.
And what do you think Tsarnaev's best defense here is? I mean, what is his defense?
Well, I think in many ways it's a question of whether or not he could get a life plea or whether or not he can ultimately, even in a death case, get a life sentence. There may be mitigating factors, according to his defense lawyers, having to do with his mental state. I mean, it's very hard to say when we look at a death penalty case, it's deserved for the worst of the worst. So what other case can we think of right now that would be worse than this?
And what about Aaron Hernandez, the NFL player, also in Massachusetts? In the beginning, I heard phrases like slam dunk. They have the evidence against him. Is it still as clear as it appeared to be in the beginning when it was first reported?
Not a bit. In fact, this is a case, and I've gone on record about this right here on CBS This Morning.
I remember.
This is a case that really looks like, as you say, it was a slam dunk. However, it's very circumstantial. None of the co-defendants, nor the fiancé, have turned to cooperate with the government. It's thin, and you've got great defense lawyers. That's the case to watch.
Then we've got the case that started at a theater in Aurora, Colorado, and there's a sanity hearing for James Holmes. The outcome of that will obviously affect that trial.
Yes, if there is a trial. What you have here again is the defense going forward, looking for a not guilty by reason of insanity. Prosecution's in trouble here on that issue, not on the facts. We know he did this. They're not in dispute. But the prosecution has had a number of doctors who have looked at this man, and apparently none of them are coming up with an opinion that will help the prosecution. Hearing is going to come up, and we're going to hear it that you're going to have 4 doctors who are going to testify. They want to close that, don't want that out in the public, and we will see what the outcome of that is.
How could it possibly be anything other than when they say insanity, when it seems so premeditated, Rikki? Remember, he had seemed to have booby-trapped his apartment and it had planned it out so well. How could that be anything other than sane?
Well, if you look at someone who has a mental disease or defect, and that mental disease or defect at the time of the crime had a substantial capacity to affect his ability to decide right from wrong. So if it is proven perhaps that he's under an illusion or delusion, better word, and that he thinks somehow when he was going to that theater that he was going to shoot up Martians, that he was under that delusion. If you look at this, just being crazy does not mean that you are not guilty by reason of insanity or that you're found guilty.
And then a case I know you've covered for a long time, Kennedy cousin Michael Skakel, who is out of jail.
He's out of jail. The prosecution says they're going to appeal this, giving him this new trial, that they don't want that. They want to put him back in jail. That appeal is going to take a long time. We may learn about it in 2014. We're always going to know that we want the answer is there justice for Martha Moxley or is there justice for Michael Skakel?
I always think when there's a new trial, you must get very excited, Rikki, because you get so involved. I love it when you come on because you get so involved in the details of the case.
Well, I love these cases,
and
you know, I think it's something in the water in Boston, and it keeps drawing me back.
It does. Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you, Rikki Klieman. Thanks a lot.